This episode brought to you by Audible! audibletrial.com/horrorvirgin for 30 days free and a book to get you started for your book recommendation. Jen!
Hey guys, today I am recommending the Amityville Horror. This is the book that this movie was inspired by. It's written by Jay Anson, and I really liked it. I read a lot of horror fiction, but a lot of horror fiction doesn't really scare me. I enjoy the stories, but I don't get scared. And this book actually scared me. So check it out. It's a real quick read.
Awesome. So go to audibletrial.com/horrorvirgin for 30 days free and a book to get you started and make that book the Amityville Horror. This episode also brought to you by Nick B. You know, Jacob.
Yes.
Nick B, for his sponsorship spot, has had us talking about God Country every week.
He has.
What up, Nick B?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nick
Holla
B.
at your boy.
Yeah.
That shit's filming right now as we record.
Is. And we are here not
We're
helping.
recording instead. I didn't say I was recording. I wrote some things and now I'm out.
Absolutely.
All right.
But if you want to check out more information about God Country, go to godcountryfilm.com or at God Country on pretty much all the socials.
All
right,
the
Jacob?
things.
Yeah.
Or even at Modern Horrors.
Yeah. And thank you, Nick B, for getting the word out.
Shit,
Thanks,
yeah.
Nick B.
And for the support.
You're awesome.
And if you would like to help support the podcast, go to patreon.com/horrorvirgin and sign up for one of the levels. Got a lot of great tent. That's short for content.
Oh, is it?
Bring in that beautiful theme music.
All right, let's do it.
Just another statistic in that fucking snake world.
Podloft.
He just made it so that snake is much more likely to go to jail
Definitely, right?
on these hard, mean streets.
Welcome to the Horror Virgin, everybody.
Yes.
We got lots of snake insanity going on.
Fucking educational right now.
I know,
Snake
man.
sanity.
We just figured out how snakes procreate.
Yeah. Cloaca
You're welcome.
is a word I learned today.
And that's all I'm going to
Cloaca.
bring to this podcast.
And that snakes have two penises.
What?
Double dicking.
Oh. Well, I'm Jen.
I'm the horror virgin Todd, and today we have special guests.
Yes, returning to the Podloft, we've got Jacob from Modern
Yes.
Horrors. Yay.
I'm here because you guys don't understand how much editing Todd does. And so my goal today is to say the most fucked up shit to see what actually will make it into the podcast.
Oh, nice.
All of that. All
We've
of that
already
will make it into the
started with
podcast. Yeah.
snake
Right. It's only
penises.
going to get worse for me. So we'll see
We
what
started
stays.
at snake penises, and it's going to get worse.
Just warming it up, just priming it, priming that cloaca.
Oh, my God. Oh. Mikey was going to join us, but Mikey got really sick.
He really did. Yeah, he's going to be back next
I had to
time,
take him to the hospital this week. Literally, I had to take him to the ER. So, guys, today we watched the 1979 classic.
The Amityville Horror, yes. This was your listener request for May. We asked you for haunted house movies, and
And
you
you
guys picked one
delivered.
of my favorites. Yeah.
Really? This is one of your favorites? Let's just do first thoughts, since that's what we're talking about right now. Like, this movie for me was super slow, super boring. It was a lot. It wasn't even scary. I mean, there were moments that were scary, and we'll talk about that when we get to them, but I wasn't super scared by it. It was just real slow.
I do think it was slow. I
Yeah.
think it could have lived without like all of the priest stuff.
Yes, this movie could have been 40 minutes, and it would have been a great Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Jacob, what do you think?
So before we started, I remember telling you that, hey, I remember this. It's been a long time, but I remember this one holding up and being like one of those like cool classics that held up. And fuck me, dude, I need to quit coming on your podcast because every time I say that,
We just ruin movies
fucking
for
that
you
movie
right
like
now.
that wasn't good. Like 13 Ghosts. I was like, yeah, I remember that being fun. Fucking was I wrong?
Dude, it was
Wrong
a fun
every time.
episode, though. Yeah.
It was a fun
I mean,
episode.
shit, I love that
But
episode.
the
That was
fucking
the birth
movie-
of Chromie Homie.
It
Yeah,
was the birth
it
of
was.
Chromie Homies.
So I do really like this movie a lot. I could have lived without, like I said, all of the priest stuff, but I do enjoy it. And I've read this book and I really like the book a lot. I watched this movie when I still kind of thought that this was maybe a true story.
Oh, is that why? Because I know it's a scam. It's like
Right.
the scammiest of
Y'all
scammertons.
calm down.
Yeah.
This is the realest of reals. Did you not
No,
see the
dog.
disclaimer?
It was based on true events, but maybe was changed for dramatic
Maybe wink,
stuff.
wink, not
Winky,
true.
blinky. Yeah. But yeah, I do think it changed how I felt about it when I knew for sure it wasn't true. You know, if I watched it just thinking it was maybe a haunted house movie, I think I would have enjoyed it. And if I watched it thinking it might be true, I might have enjoyed it. But I'm in this weird middle place right now where I know it's supposed to be true, but it's not, you know,
Right.
so it just kind of feels like a lie.
It
But-
needed more shirtless Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, for
we
sure.
watched the wrong
There was
the wrong
zero
version.
shirtless Ryan
There was
Reynolds.
none in
And
this
if
one.
Ryan Reynolds was in this movie shirtless, he would be way too young for that because this movie came out when he was like 3.
That's true. Was he even born then?
Probably. Ryan
was a lot
Reynolds
of
is
priests
probably
in
one of
this
those
movie.
dudes who's like 45, but you would never know.
Right. Yeah, he had some abs in the remake, though. Whew.
I never saw it.
Well, we'll watch it. The remake is
should've.
very scary. I
Is
think.
it? This movie's not. Let's get into this fucking thing.
All
Let's-
right.
Can we talk about this fucking movie?
Exactly.
All right. So we start with a rainy house, and it's like this iconic house with the two eyes in it, and it's not, they're window eyes. And it's on.
They're not even eyes; they're just windows.
Yeah, they are literally just windows. But
they-
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
They look
Yeah.
like the evil eyes.
Yeah.
And it's like a red background. And so we're seeing this crime.
An actual murder. The actual murder that took place in the house.
Right. We're seeing a
The real
recreation.
thing. Oh, the recreation. I'm not bad.
No. Yeah, this was
This was the real part.
this is the Zapruder snuff film of it. But we don't see who it is. We just see the shotgun. Him
Yeah,
just
it's like
walking from
shoulders
room to room.
down, shotgun, killing every member of the family.
Right, while they're in bed.
Sexy.
Mhm. And this is a real crime. And we'll talk about this a little bit later. But this part actually happened.
Yeah, this is the only true event that takes place in the entire movie.
Yeah, supposedly.
Just completely hateful.
It's been pretty thoroughly debunked.
It has been debunked to the point that even before I started doing this podcast, I knew it was a fake made up story.
Yeah.
Like, and that was before I even gave a shit about horror, which I don't like horror now, but I sort of have to watch it for the podcast so I know more about it.
Right.
But I knew about this scam well before any of that happened.
But the crime that is happening at the beginning is a real thing that actually
Yes,
did happen.
that's the only true part of the movie.
The part that is
Part of the
after.
scam.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a very elaborate scam. We'll talk
what-
about that later.
Yeah.
The only true part of the story is the murder actually happened, and James Brolin and Margot Kidder are 70s hot.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So then we see them bringing all the bodies out, and they just pop the bodies in the back of a 70s station wagon.
Yeah,
and just
they like
twirl on
throw
down
them in the
road.
way back and then drive away.
They put the seat down. Yeah. And I think a lot of the people in that scene are the actual firemen and ambulance people from the town.
Oh, did they film at the same time it took place in?
No, fun fact. So they wanted to film in the actual house. And
We have stumbled on a Gen Fun fact.
Ooh.
Cue that theme music.
Actually, we don't have guys. If you want to create some theme music for our segments, like Gen Fun Facts, Box Office, any of that shit,
Fun facts. Yeah.
submit it to us and we will put it on for sure.
That would be awesome.
That
Yeah.
would be awesome.
So they wanted to film in Amityville. They wanted to film inside the actual house, but the city of Amityville wanted to distance themselves as much from this crime as possible, so they wouldn't let them. So they filmed it in this town in New Jersey, and they took an existing house and remodeled it to look like this one.
Gotcha.
Cool.
It was in New Jersey. Somebody probably got killed in that house
Yeah,
as well.
I
I mean,
yeah.
chances are New Jersey.
So the people like the support people in the scene are actually from that town. All right, so the next thing we see is 1 year later, and we see James Brolin and Lois Lane are looking at this house with Phyllis from The Office's mom as their realtor.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I'm not into dudes, but Thanos' dad is like 70s hot.
Oh
in
yeah,
this.
he is very 70s.
He's wearing
hot.
flannel in every scene.
He's got the moose all
Very
in his
coiffed hair.
Even in the scene where he's not wearing pants, he's rocking flannel.
He's still somehow
Oh, yeah.
wearing flannel.
Oh, yeah.
Even in the scenes where he's wearing nothing.
He's
He's just got flannel in his heart, you know?
he's either from
Flannel.
the 70s or about to start an alt rock band in 91 in Seattle.
That's what he looks like in the later parts of the movie. Right now, he's still got all that moose in his hair.
Yeah, he does.
All right, so they're roaming around the house, and I just have to say, I think Mikey would be so angry at this house because it's just gray walls everywhere.
It is. Dude, and that is one of Mikey's pet peeves
It
for
really
sure.
is. He is very particular
I
about
mean, are we
the
just going to
decor.
ignore the very aggressive wallpaper in several of the rooms?
That's true.
It was the 70s, but yeah, it was real gross.
It had some real selling points, though, like a pencil sharpener on the wall,
Oh, yeah.
right next to the light switch. I mean, yeah, dangerously
placed hooks
Right at eye level.
Eye level. I
Oh, my
know.
God, yeah.
It's a good design. The whole thing.
Just
Yeah, they nailed
designed
it.
for maximum danger in the house.
I'm into
you
it.
know?
Clothesline right in the middle of the kitchen.
You gotta grow
Oh,
those
guys.
kids tough.
Guys, we're forgetting the dimension portal to hell under
Oh,
the
that's
stairs in the
right.
basement.
But that was like a bonus. We didn't even know that was there.
I
It's like
know.
extra square footage.
I know The Conjuring takes place way after this, chronological when the movies were released, but like this feels a lot like The Conjuring to me.
Oh yeah, the Warrens actually investigated this crime too.
Yeah, they
Well,
did.
yeah, because they
Or
were
this kind
scam
of
artists,
We'll
and
talk
that's what
about that.
scam artists
They were
do.
part of it.
Yeah,
Oh, I can feel the butt hurt everywhere.
yeah.
All right, so they are looking at this house and they are wandering all through the rooms, and a lot of this is the original furniture from the family because the family all got murdered.
Who got
and where was
Yeah,
it?
like the
Shotgunned up.
bed frames and shit are still there,
Right,
and
you're
yeah,
like, oh, we'll just put the mattress on the side so you won't see all the blood stains on it, and that'll
As
sell
you
this
do.
house real
It'll be
quick.
Someone
so cool. Don't worry
barely
about it.
tried to glue a lamp back together.
Right.
That's my favorite, though. They were just like, cool, free shit comes with the house.
Exactly.
Dope.
Yeah. Well, and so they know what's happened in this house.
The mom and dad do.
They do, yeah. And it's like $80,000, I think, which he says it would ordinarily be $120,000. But I mean, this house is like on a canal. It's got a boathouse. It's got like 3 stories, and in the actual house had a pool too. This house, I don't think has
Fancy.
a pool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a big house. So they're thinking we would never be able to buy this house ordinarily, so we'll just buy it. It's haunted. It's fine.
Yeah, why not? Houses don't have memories,
They
Jen.
don't. I know.
He does make a point to say that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's a business owner. He's a smart guy.
He knows
He
a thing or
only
two about
wears
that, right?
flannel.
Yeah, but so they're talking about this house, and they're breaking down the money situation because they keep saying that they're strapped for cash.
Yeah, which is a bunch of bullshit.
I know, because they have a motorcycle and a boat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he owns a construction business or something.
It's a surveying company. George Lutz Surveying.
Service.
And
Yes.
so we also find out that they are recently married, but she has 3 kids from a former.
Well, yeah, I mean, she
Hooker.
was married to Superman, and now she's got 3 kids.
I know, because Superman went back to save Krypton. Isn't that where?
Yeah, something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's the 70s. It was very scandalous.
Wait, didn't Krypton blow up? Isn't that the reason they sent him away from Krypton?
Because it blew up. Where did he go after that?
Earth. He went to Earth
Can we
as
just be
a
real?
baby.
Superman's like the worst superhero.
I hate
of all
Superman so
time.
much.
Superman.
Superman
He's
is the
awful.
worst.
I mean, I don't have super strong feelings, but I like him.
He's pretty bad.
I don't
He's pretty bad.
dislike-
He
like
can
Superman.
do everything and
Yep.
is still a petulant teenager. He's like,
true.
oh, I feel bad for me. My life is awesome. He's like white privilege, the superhero, and then he like asks you to feel bad for him because his
Jeez.
life's fucking dope.
This is the evening.
His life's fucking dope.
So then they do buy the house, and from my experience of buying a house, the realtor does not say, "Oh, I'm sure they'll accept your offer. You just go pack all your shit. I'll take care of the numbers."
Oh yeah, and then sits down and crunches the numbers
Exactly.
inside the house she just sold.
Right? No,
it was the 70s.
it is like at least 48 hours of super stressful bid writing.
Yeah, and then you see like the wind blow on the realtor, right?
It was pretty sexy.
From inside the house.
Yeah, oh
She-
yeah.
she was
Phyllis's
looking hot.
mom,
She
man.
was looking hot.
She
Yeah,
got it
she's got
going
some
on.
big ass glasses.
Big old
Which is a
glasses.
theme in this movie.
All the better to see you with.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
So a month later, they are moving in. Plane
Much
is
to
just-
Todd's confusion.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know.
because it just says a month later, and it seemed like they had moved in a month ago.
No, they bought the house a month ago. and
I
then
don't
they
know, man.
moved
That
in.
realtor seemed real confident they could move in
Yeah.
immediately.
That's true. And she had a suitcase.
She
Maybe-
was also moving in. I have some questions about the realtor in this movie.
Let's break down the timeline of this realtor bid accepting situation.
Yeah, you can clearly
When did the
tell
home
I've never bought a house.
expansion happen? Oh, dude. So what I think is that James Brolin, like he was like a single man owning a company. Like,
Yeah.
he bought himself a boat. He bought himself a motorcycle, and then he took on this woman and married her,
Ain't
and she's
that the
got
truth?
3 kids, and now he doesn't have
Baggage.
nearly as much.
They
They're
call that the
delightful.
platinum card. Although, I mean, Margot Kidder is not my type, but he seems super into her. Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
for him, it's worth it.
Well, but
At
I
least
think-
before he moves in with him, her, and the kids. And then he
Correct.
sort of seems to lose his mind. So maybe
Just
it
maybe.
wasn't.
You said at one point, like, I think he's just in over his head.
Oh, yeah.
But
He
I
was
feel
definitely
like-
in over his head.
Maybe she should step up her game.
I mean, also, she doesn't have a job.
She couldn't even take the groceries in properly.
Oh, we'll get there. So they're moving in and they're packing, and then they decide, screw this, let's go have a beer and just jet off in our boat.
Yeah, and they do. Because you're allowed to drink and drive when you're white and it's the 70s. Ask George W. Bush.
Yeah, and you own your own boathouse. Jeez.
Shots
That is
fired.
your 4th angry Twitter campaign inspired.
Come at me, GWB.
All right, so they jet off in their boat, and then a priest shows up, and he's going to bless the house because apparently that's something people do.
No, they weren't even off on the boat yet when the priest showed up.
That's
Remember?
right.
Because
They're
he
just
tried to
out
like get their
backyard.
attention. And they just took off, and he's like, "Well, fuck it, I live here now."
Exactly.
Yeah, he just like rolls up and like, hey, is anyone here? No? Cool. I'm going to walk about the place. And he does. And he goes up into that top room and he puts on, I don't know, the priest gear.
Yeah.
And then it gets
He preached
real.
the fuck up.
And then it gets real insecty all over that place.
There's flies everywhere.
Oh my God. This scene pissed me off so much. Because first off, he's not breaking, but he's definitely entering. Like he's trespassing for sure, and he just makes his like way up to the top room.
He's heard like giggling, so he thinks he hears voices.
Yeah.
He gets a little excited about that.
Yeah. But I mean,
Who wouldn't?
Right?
before you just walk into someone's house, you like walk around and see if they're out there, and they were back there.
To
and
make
you
sure there's no
probably heard them.
narcs, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then he walks into the room, and then the door closes, and he sees the family outside. By the way, the door closes by itself. He doesn't close the door, and he doesn't immediately run the fuck out of the house.
Right, and then burn it down.
He's armored the fuck up. With
He
God.
should have burned
true.
that bitch to the ground, and then he puts the armor of God on and
He's
starts
on, man.
praying. And then flies get all up in his shit, and he's just like, I'm gonna hang out here and just see. I'm gonna play this, see how this plays out. He never goes and tries to open the door. The evil house has to open the door for him and be like, "Yo, get out."
That priest has been in some sticky situations. He's ready to end it for the long haul.
Oh my
Fun
god!
fact, they got those flies to sit on him by putting honey on his head. So it was a sticky situation.
I just don't understand why
Flies are
he had
gross,
to. Like, this priest waits until the demon or the possessed whatever opens the door and tells him to get out. That's a real stupid person.
Yells at him to get out.
Yeah.
Because he gets whispered to get
That
out.
motherfucker's catching flies.
I know.
You catch more flies with honey.
Nailed it!
True.
But
Boom, with
you
demon
catch
honey.
more honeys being fly.
Oh, shit! Back when I was single, that would have been good advice for me.
Walk around with honey on your head.
Would that not work?
If you're ever rolling around with priest gear, you'll know what to do.
You know what pickup line doesn't work at a bar? Hey, baby, want to get sticky?
Don't try that.
You haven't tried it enough.
Anyway, so he finally does meander out of the house, back to his car, drive away, and then no, wait.
Pukes on the bushes.
That's right. He doesn't drive away. He pukes on their bushes.
Like the worst fucking house guest.
I know.
They're
Jesus
going to come
Christ.
home from their boat ride and be like, well, this is a nice night out. This is a good idea. Take a break from packing or whatever. And then walk out and be like, oh, hun, did someone throw
This
us
is
in the
why
bushes?
Brolin's losing his fucking mind. There's
I
like just
know.
random puke
I know.
everywhere in his
he
fucking
keeps having
house.
to clean it up.
Dude.
Oh, my God.
House Chores the movie. This really is House Chores the movie.
This is Honeydew Project, the movie. It
absolutely what
is.
it
Because
is.
Margot Kidder doesn't do shit except for take care of the kids, which is fine, but also drop groceries.
And the one time she
I can
fucks up,
tell
it's his
Jen
fault.
is staring at me very graciously right now. I'm not.
doesn't do shit.
I'm not looking.
She doesn't do shit except for take care of the kids.
She does do sexy Tom.
That's true. She does a lot of ballet and
And-
Virgin Mary statue painting.
She does. She does. And she only does art in like 90s.
Yeah, to harpsichord music.
Yes.
So the next thing, they are all going to bed that night. And I think it's their first night in the house. And the priest is trying to call. And so Lois Lane picks up the phone and can't get a connection because it's staticky. So she just keeps bonking the hang up.
Yeah, she just hangs up on him immediately. She's like,
And
oh,
then,
it's
but
staticky.
just keeps clapping
Yeah.
it. Like,
Oh, my
that's
God.
going to fix it.
Now,
It
like
does not.
90% of the audience doesn't know what the fuck that means.
It's a phone in the wall.
It's a rotary thing.
Hey, millennials.
Guys, it's like what you carry in your hand and look at porn on, except it's tied to your wall and you can only make calls on
No
it.
screens whatsoever.
Yeah, and
Right. And there's
No
a
internet.
long screen, so you can't walk very far away from it.
no. And it doesn't work very good because staticky as shit.
Yes, it's very susceptible to evil.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is the real horror of
I
this
know,
movie.
yeah.
The rotary phone.
I don't think their phone ever works. Does anyone make a successful phone call?
And did they
They
ever...
never actually prove that it's demons. It's just a faulty fucking connection.
Exactly. Maybe George just forgot to set up AT&T.
dude.
They need to get
AT&T,
Bill,
motherfuck.
electrician / adventurer,
They
out there on that
do,
fucking
yeah.
phone. Would have been the best. House 2 is so good. So what happens after the staticky phone call from the devil?
Well, we've got George talking about cold. This is the first time he mentions that he's really cold in the house. And she's like, oh,
Yeah.
I think there's a draft. And then
Well, she actually says, I was cold earlier, but I'm warming up now. I think there's a draft coming down from the basement. Dun, dun, dun. That's where the devil's stairway is or whatever the fuck.
Right. So then we get our ballet scene.
Ooh, guys. I know I'm getting Natalie for Christmas.
One leg warmer.
Exactly. Yo, I'm not going to lie, man. She made it work.
She's looking at this mirror, which I found out is some kind of 70s porn mirror.
I mean,
will
listen,
Their
say-
entire
I'm not
walls
saying
were
it-
mirrors.
yeah.
There
I
wasn't just
know.
a mirror. It was mirrors.
with like gold leaves on them, too.
Yeah, very Liberace.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Oh.
so she's wearing underwear.
Yeah, and
Correct,
like a shirt
correct.
that's
and
unbuttoned.
a sheer shirt. It's like
Sure.
a kind of 70s gown and one leg warmer.
Yeah.
Oh, and a flower in her hair.
Yes.
And she's looking at herself in the mirror and she's doing the slow
like, "Damn, I look
motion
good."
ballet. Yeah.
She looks all right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Her face is weird to me, but like
no.
She does this upper lip curl thing.
Yeah, I never found Margot Kidder really attractive.
Oh, I think Margot Kidder.
I mean, I can see how in the 70s she'd be hot, but like she doesn't do it for me. But she, I don't know, man.
She didn't evolve.
Yeah.
A time-stamped look.
Yeah.
Oh. So then James Brolin walks in and admires the ballet. And
He walks in and he's like, that's why those 3 kids are worth it. All right.
That one leg warmer.
right.
I'm telling you, man.
It
Christmas.
just makes you wonder where the other one went.
Or
I'm
is
more
it
curious.
dirty?
Oh.
Maybe it's got something on it.
It was used for cleanup the night before. So James Brolin and Margot Kidder fuck like it's their first night.
Yeah. On the floor.
Yeah, they're having sex on the floor.
They later end up in a bed, though,
Next
which is very strange.
To a bed. Yeah.
I mean, you gotta get kinky every now and then.
Exactly. I feel like
I'm not-
Have you never had rug burns? Come on.
Yeah, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it on the floor.
Makes less noise, too. You got 3 kids up in that fucking house.
That's true. And
Expert.
speaking of one of the kids ruins it.
She does.
She like walks in.
Oh, she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
She does.
she
Yeah,
was
but
like-
we slowly hear the door open.
That's why you know she knows. Because she's
Exactly.
giving them a little bit of heads up.
And we think it might be a ghost at first, even though there's Mr. Rogers music playing over this sex scene.
There was.
yeah.
It sounded like the fucking train was pulling into the
my
station.
God.
Did, yeah.
Maybe that's what James Brolin has to think about to finish.
Dude, they weren't playing it the second
Gross.
time, and that's why he couldn't get it up.
Yeah.
Won't you be
Train.
my neighbor?
Train wreck.
Anyway.
Speaking of trains, it's derailed.
Anyway, so their kid comes
Derailed
in.
us, man. Yeah, their kid comes in and says, "Mommy." So she puts a shirt on, but she's still got that one leg warmer
Yeah.
on because
Fuck
James
yeah.
Brolin
She
just really
needs to finish later.
he wanted to feel it on. His
Oh,
neck.
James Brolin finished when she took that kid to bed. Because when she comes back
That's
to
what the
bed
other leg warmer was
after
for.
tucking him in, or after tucking her kid in, he is like laying back like he's just like, woo, baby.
He's not smoking a cigarette, but he is smoking a
He
cigarette.
may as
with
well
every-
be smoking
Exactly.
a cigarette. Yeah. He is no longer interested in letting her finish.
Mm-hmm.
He is interested in going to sleep.
And to be fair, she doesn't seem interested in it either.
She never
I think
seemed
she's
into it.
having
No. But if your husband was humming the theme song to Mr. Rogers the whole time he was having sex, would you want to finish?
What if he has
or would
to
you
shout
want
that
it to
at
be
the
over?
moment of climax? Won't you be my neighbor?
Hot. So hot.
Honestly, guys, I want you guys right now listening. If you have sex tonight, shout, "Won't you be my neighbor?" right as you finish.
You know, I have to imagine, based on the number of listeners you guys have, that somebody is having sex while listening to this podcast.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Think
I'm
about
on
that.
board
We
for
know
that.
who you are.
Yeah.
We see you.
I mean, if you're brave, let me know. I'm
And
curious.
listen, you guys both can get it.
exactly. You are getting
Yeah,
it, right?
you guys
You are actually
getting
getting it.
Well done.
You are neighbors.
All right, so James and Margot talk a little bit. I don't think it matters what they say.
It
They go to
doesn't.
bed.
I
Yeah.
just like to see James Brolin. with
Although,
his shirt
isn't
on.
there a 3:15? Because at this, just
yeah.
like with the
3:15,
Conjuring
baby.
episode, there's a new dick o'clock. And in the Conjuring episode, it was 3:07. This one's 3:15. So apparently, the 3 o'clock hour is the dick o'clock hour.
The witching hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and this is the first time we see James Brolin wake up at 3:15.
But he goes downstairs at this point, right?
This is jeans on, tighter jeans with no underwear.
Yeah.
He's just living
Very
fast
risky
and
maneuver,
loose, man.
yo.
I know.
Very risky maneuver. You
After
can
all
lose a
that.
nut that way.
You
can open
can.
up a sack, Barry just fall right out.
Oh
We
my
do
God.
see later that he did not, though. That he made it through this. Okay.
Oh yeah, because
We're
you
pretty
see
sure.
the twig and berries in a later scene. Anyway, so he's walking down commando style out and goes and checks the boathouse. He brings the dog with him.
Yeah.
Because
The
I
boat
think
is
he
very
heard
important.
something or something. I can't quite remember why, but I don't know.
I don't think even he knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, there's a lot of scenes in this they should have cut because it's way too long.
I do think it's too long,
And it's
yeah.
boring. Like nothing happens except for the dog and him go to the boathouse
Right.
and then he comes back. Literally nothing happens.
This just tells you how far we've come or how different times are now because he comes inside to smoke a cigarette. And it just feels so wrong because I'm just so used to not ever seeing people smoke and they have to go outside to smoke. I don't know. It
And then
just-
random jump scare.
Oh, yeah. Okay. This is the one
the
thing that I
pussycat?
was scared about. Yeah. The cat jumps out at the window.
Just
This got
pussy
me
all over
too.
the place.
This is the part of the movie that really scared me. The cat jumped out of nowhere.
That cat scene scared me. The cat
It did?
jump scare scared me. Yeah.
Yeah. See?
Because it's jumpy. It like this
It is.
movie is not super scary. We'll talk about that when we get to scary scale, but that scene startled me.
Yeah, it is very jump scary. All right, so next we got Grocery Gate.
Oh my God. This is also when you realize that James Brolin has a chopping wood fetish.
He does, yeah.
Half of this movie, he's chopping wood
Have you
with a
ever chopped
double-sided
fucking
axe.
wood with an axe?
I have.
Is it
I
fun?
love
Fucking
it.
rad, isn't it?
It is. It's cathartic,
It's
man.
so fucking rad. You want to come over to my house and chop some
I
wood?
would, dude. I would do it tonight.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I'm actually real busy for the next
I
little
gotcha.
bit, but
You
I'm
want
on
to karate
board.
chop this table in half?
I don't think
See
you
if that
know.
works?
Give me an axe and I'll karate chop the
I got
table
like
in
an
half.
8-pound maul. It's kind of like an axe, but it's like fatter and heavier. Boy, it could do some
I'm
fucking
into
damage,
it. Yeah,
dude.
I am into it. Let's do it.
Patreon material here.
Patreon.
All right. So he's chopping wood, and this is the first time we start to see him kind of looking a little sickly.
And that man knows how to chop wood.
Exactly.
Yeah,
he
he
doesn't.
does.
Oh, yeah, he does. He doesn't have the moose in his hair quite so much.
No, but Margot Kidder comes home with
2 small bags of
Two
groceries.
bags of groceries, and she tries
Super
to
small.
take them both at once.
2 bags of groceries for a family of 5 is not enough.
That's a little
She's going
nutty.
to the store every day.
and half of that is light bulbs.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, and Pringles. There were some Pringles.
Pringles.
Was
yeah.
there Pringles in there?
Which-
well, once you pop.
Priorities, man.
I think those were the original flavor.
Guys, potato chips are gross. Come at me, bros. I am a corn-based chip guy only.
He has told me I do not like potato-based chips.
It's
when
the
I get
truth.
snacks.
They're gross.
But have you had Pringles?
Yes.
Oh, they're delicious.
I've had every potato-based chip there is out there, and all of them leave this nasty film in my mouth.
Like starch?
It's gross. I hate it. I don't know what that was, and I apologize for the exuberant nature in which I said
I like
gross.
it. I like the
Potatoes
passion.
do to you?
Yeah,
Passion just came out.
I love potatoes. I love French fries. I love potatoes.
man.
I love Irish women. I just don't like
There
potato-based
goes
chips.
that Pringles sponsorship. Shoot
I
right off the
know,
fucking
man.
Come
window.
at me, Pringles.
I wanted some Pringles. They're so good.
Whatever.
Somebody
nerds.
tagged the Pringles account.
Anyway,
Anyways.
so Margot Kidder grabs these 2 bags as
That's
James.
James Brolin to read
Oh, that's
her
true.
mind.
She's yelling at him actually at first.
But he can't hear.
Because he's chopping wood like a goddamn man.
He's busy.
Doing man shit.
And she could now he could help her with the groceries, but she doesn't have to carry
It's
both
the
of those.
fall.
At the
They're going to be
same time.
cold.
Also, it's 2 small bags of groceries.
The tiny
Any
sub
person
bags.
could carry those at the same time. But she drops them and then runs towards James Brolin with blame in her eyes and like sneaks up on him as he's chopping wood. And he almost swings at her a little
Yeah,
bit.
he goes, "You don't sneak up behind a man who's chopping wood."
Which is true. Yeah, you don't sneak up on anybody who's chopping wood.
That's right.
With sharp objects in the
Yeah,
hand.
or
just
anything.
Whatever that thing is.
You don't sneak up on anyone who's swinging a golf club.
Exactly.
like,
And did she really give it the best effort carrying those in? She had that like second bag as high up as possible.
I know.
Has she ever carried groceries? She's got one skill in this life.
yeah, she's got
working.
3 kids in this movie and is conservatively 24 years old. And those kids are 12, 11, and 9. So she started having kids when she was 14 in this
Maybe
movie.
her first husband was Craig T. Nelson.
That's a way back throwback to the Poltergeist episode.
No, and I love Craig T. Nelson.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
me too. Me
I don't
too.
want to lose that Craig T. sponsorship.
Coach.
So then they reconcile or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I
And he
think she
picks the
just,
shit up and goes in.
Yeah,
He's like, he comes out of it and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry."
He takes
I'll
his
help you."
fucking lumps that he did not deserve.
no.
That's true. She was a little aggro about that.
But he lets her take the unbroken bag in. He takes the broken bag of shit and they walk in the house.
Right.
Which kudos on those 70s bulbs. Not a single one of those broke.
No.
I know, man. So then the daughter is wandering around and she starts to talk to her new imaginary friend Jody that nobody can see.
And you never see
might be
Jody
ghost.
throughout this. Yeah.
Or do we?
No,
If
you don't.
Jody's a giant pig in the window.
Spoiler.
Sorry.
Questions about that pig later. Let's come back.
Questions about the
Oh, we'll get to Piggate.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
The father is trying to call the house.
The
I think
phone
she does
call
it every
stuff
time.
happens like 5 or 6 times.
true, yeah.
So, like, people try and call them a lot. In fact, in a later scene, someone says, "I've been trying to call you for a week. Like, her phone's always busy."
Yeah.
Like it's off the hook or something.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know,
Jeff.
man.
Jeff gives him an old speech.
How do you
Or
know
is it
their
evil?
names?
I was paying attention.
All right.
Oh!
I never pay
Shots
attention
fired.
to names. I'm the worst.
I normally am not good with names, but let's be honest. That dude looked like a Jeff.
Yeah,
A
he
hard,
looked
like a
like a
hard
Jeff for sure.
If you're a Jeff, you know what's up. You know
Yeah,
what you look
Jeff.
like.
Yeah, Jeff.
Well, so this is when the father is trying to call the house and he gets the hand blisters. So father has blister hands.
Yes.
And then a nun comes to the house now.
Right.
And I think it's like their aunt that's also
Yeah,
a
it
nun.
is their aunt. Yeah.
There's lots of clergy in this movie, and I'm not quite sure how
It's a
they all relate.
clergy-heavy movie for
It
sure,
is,
yeah.
and I could have used a lot less of the clergy. So the nun comes in, and she knows everybody and is like pinching cheeks. And
Well,
just-
she's their aunt. They don't really talk about whether it's her sister or James's sister.
it's just a nun that shows up.
Yeah.
They know.
Who cares?
But she walks in with a plant, and she immediately starts feeling weird and says she has to go, and she knocks the plant over on the floor and then bones out for Lois Lane to clean up the mess.
Yeah, and then drives halfway down the street and then vomits out the door.
Very loudly.
Man, and there's no vomit. It's just like you see her open the door and then hear. It's like the worst 80-yard vomit ever.
It's 70s vomit. I think that's what it sounded like in the 70s.
That's how it happens. Interesting.
And then, I think this is when Lois Lane is wearing another white, almost buttoned up
Well,
nightie,
yes.
and painting
Painting the Virgin Mary.
Virgin
Yeah.
Mary.
painting a statue of the Virgin Mary. And Josh Brolin is just staring into the fire, and he's starting to look a little more pale and sickly. His hair has lost that moose curl.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Starting to look pretty radical now.
I know,
So what's
yeah.
up?
He's just staring into the fire.
I mean, have you ever seen Fire? It's cool.
Yeah, it's
It is
fucking
cool.
dope.
Apparently, the fire and the cold in the house is affecting his sexual prowess because Lois lights her cigarette, although she did not get what normally makes you want to light a cigarette after you have sex.
I think it's hilarious because, like, she's smoking a cigarette, like, don't worry, trust me, it happens to a lot of guys.
She knew.
Which
She
is
knew.
something you don't want to hear your new wife with 3 kids talk about.
Exactly.
Be like, how many baby daddies do you have?
3.
And did you exactly?
least.
And then did you break all of their dicks, and that's why you left them?
That'd have been more my concern. Is like, why are you killing boners?
Yeah. What happened to that other leg warmer?
Right.
Whose house is that leg warmer in?
Joe.
All right, so Lois Lane is not satisfied, and I think the next thing we see.
I mean, if Superman was your last boyfriend,
That's true.
Even, no matter how hot and muscular James Brolin is, you're never going to be able to live up to the son of Krypton.
Exactly. Can
just
James
can't do
Brolin
it.
have sex while flying with you at the same time?
No, he can't climax while falling to the ground like an eagle in the sky.
Now, James Brolin.
I mean, if this would have been the Ryan Reynolds version, though, she probably could have.
Yeah.
James Brolin is hot in this movie, too.
He's 70s hot for sure.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, like, listen, I get it. He could
Bushy.
get it.
He just looks like he's either wearing flannel or like kind of lounging on a bearskin rug in his heart all the
Bushy.
time. You know?
He looks like the Burt Reynolds Playboy spread.
That's exactly what I was envisioning.
Yeah.
Came to life, yeah.
Yeah.
Except he's not that hairy. And
No,
I
he's
like
not.
that.
Some people are
You know?
shocked to hear that right now. They're like, Burt Reynolds Playgirl.
Yeah, Google it.
What?
Yeah, Google.
Guys.
Actually, you should Google it, then save it, and then
Yeah.
put that on
Save
your
it for a rainy
computer.
day.
Yeah.
Just post that shit everywhere.
Put it in your secret folder. Maybe I'll link it.
Yeah, link it. Let's do it. Come at me, Burt.
Maybe he's got the other leg warmer for you.
Oh shit, that'd be crazy.
That would be fun. I need someone to
Call
take.
Natalie and just have her
Zombie
leave
Burt
a leg
Reynolds. He's
warmer on
just
your-
like waving this fucking leg warmer at you.
I need someone right now to go to that Playgirl spread and Photoshop in the leg warmer
Oh my God.
on Burt Reynolds' leg in
Maybe
that
a
Playgirl
flower in
spread.
Or that's
hair.
what's covering up his
Holy
man parts
shit.
right there is the leg
This
warmer.
is gonna happen.
Yeah, for real. All right. So the next thing we see is the rip-off version of the Blues Brothers in the car
yeah.
scene.
Oh yeah, because the monk father, which I think is named Father Ryan.
Yeah, I think
And-
so.
Yep.
And we have not said that this father looks exactly like Bill Murray.
He does. He looks like old Bill Murray.
Not Father Ryan, the original father who went
Oh.
to the house and was
Monk
told to
Father
leave.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
hand herpes.
Yeah. Got them hand herps.
so we got Father Monk Ryan
Yes.
and Bill Murray father riding around. I don't know exactly how this starts, but the car just starts careening around.
There's a fly
Yeah,
in there.
Father Ryan, the
flips
monk,
the fuck
is
out.
like, the steering wheel's not working, although he clearly it is still working.
Right.
And then they
Because
can't
Father
stop.
Bill Murray
Yeah.
has jumped over and trying to steering wheel out.
Yeah.
It's like a lover's spat, it looks like. A
It
little bit.
does. And that evil fly is on the windshield the whole time.
He's just trying to fucking hang out and hope
I
for the
know.
best.
Well, and so then the hood of the car flies up and they're just going all over the place. And then they go off the road and they bonk into an Amityville sign.
Yeah.
And all I can hear the whole time is that little Keystone Cop thing, like in the background, or the Benny Hill music, perhaps. Yep, that's all I
Yeah.
hear.
The thing about this is it's supposed to be like, I don't know, man, nothing happens. Like they just drive around, get into a minor wreck with themselves. There's no wreck with other people, but they're both fine. The car will be ultimately be fine. A little bit of damage to it, but there's nothing happens. Why are we watching this scene?
So I think part of what that is we are just used to a different pace of movie now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because when we
This
watched
is
The
slow.
Exorcist, it was the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, I think movies in the 70s were just paced a lot more slowly, and so
Agreed.
people were used to it. But my favorite part of the scene is after they've recovered, we get the zoom in of the evil fly right in his eyes.
He's like, I heard there was honey here.
Now we are about to get to the brother's wedding. This brother who is 17 and has got the curliest moosed up hair.
And he's sitting in their living room counting out $1,500 for the caterer, which in
fucking
today's
singles.
money, yeah, because he's a stripper.
Just fucking
So he's
Has a
been
stack of
stripping
quarters
nights,
next
and
to
he's
him.
got he's got a roll of the dirtiest ones. He's counting out. So if he's paying $1,500 for a caterer, that's $5,500 in today's money. That's a shitload of money for a caterer. So he's counting up the money. Margot Kidder's like, oh, I can't believe that you're like getting married. You used to ride on the back of my bike, and now you're getting married.
And time, it passes so fast.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then he gets up, hugs her, and then James Brolin walks in and he's like, I think I got the flu,
Yeah.
but I'm going to be your best man or whatever. And then the brother's like, what happened to my money? And they start punching the couch trying
Couch
to
that I have
find
my
the
money.
money.
Dude, that would have been legit. Let's recut that with that. Matter of fact, I actually just like y'all now reenacting that scene is way more
absolutely.
interesting. He does aggressively punch that couch. Like that bitch took his money.
Why?
After looking for 5 seconds.
He did. He freaked out a little fast.
Maybe he's just not ready to get married yet.
That better have been the best fucking food. I mean, even at like $1,500 for food right now, I'd be like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, that's a lot of money
That's a lot
for
of
a
fucking
caterer.
money.
And there were conservatively 25 people at that wedding.
If that.
They're all old.
They were all about to die. There's no way
not
they could eat that
fancy.
much.
Maybe it was an open bar. Anyway, so the next scene is them at the wedding. You see people dancing. You see the bride and the groom dancing. And then you see James Brolin, and the caterer rolls up on James Brolin in the bathroom. That is not when you roll up on somebody.
Bad
No.
man code.
Yeah.
Super bad man
And
code.
he's like, I want cash. I want cash. And James is like, I'm going to write you a check and you're going to fucking take it.
Yeah.
And he does.
And because 1, he's James Brolin.
Right.
And 2, you can see the evil in his eyes.
Yeah. Do you see how hairy my beard is?
I'm James fucking Brolin, man.
I mean,
He's hot.
he was having he was having an issue. He needed a little pick me up.
But like, no joke, there's like 30 scenes that all do the same thing of set up that James Brolin is starting to lose his mind.
and he's
And
mean.
sweat a lot.
Yeah. And he's cold all the time and he's got flu-like symptoms and he's way in over his head with Margot Kidder and her
Yeah.
kids
His hair's frizzy, instead of curly.
because he's afraid.
I think he may be dehydrated. I never once saw him drink anything.
He honestly looks like he's coming down from like a long cocaine binge.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
he's been living the life on that boat and that motorcycle, single, hitting that fucking white powdery goodness. And she comes around and ruins it with them kids.
Worth it with that one leg warmer.
With that one
All right,
leg
what
warmer.
happens after the movie?
All right.
I know he writes the caterer a check because Jeff talks about it later.
Jeff does talk about it.
There's a caterer walking around town telling people you bounced the check on him.
I love the fact that there's just a cator just screaming
I know.
about
Yeah.
it.
But too afraid to go tell James Brolin because James
This
Brolin like
Lux guy
singled out
writes
at him.
bad checks.
All right, so the next thing we get, because the younger daughter apparently was too young to come to this wedding.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they got babysitter headgear.
Which was weird because the other kids aren't that much.
They're
older.
not.
I just don't think they like the little girl. They're like,
Yeah.
fuck that little girl. She's weird.
She's gotta
She does
stay in the
seem good.
house.
Leave that bitch at home.
But yeah, so the babysitter goes into the closet and then gets stuck in the closet. And you see her beating on the door. And this is like intercut with the wedding scenes, right?
Yes.
And then the light goes out in the closet. And anyway, they
She's
come
beating
home.
on the door like her fingers are bleeding.
Yeah.
she's
Anyway, so
trying.
James Brolin and Margot Kidder come home and they let her out and they're like, it's unlocked.
Yeah,
You're
what's up?
real dumb.
we
It's
left
like
this
she-
kid with you? Holy shit.
It's like the whole time she had been trying to open it inwards and it
my
wouldn't
God.
open inwards.
It's like that
And
school for the
the
gifted.
fucking
Yeah,
Far
exactly.
Side comic, the best one ever. Just fucking
And
pushing.
James Brolin gets home and he's like, it opens out.
Yeah, you have to turn it.
And then James, to prove a point, goes in there, closes the door, and walks out and looks at her like, really?
It's a little bit of a dick move, but pretty powerful, to be
I
honest.
mean, yeah, how long is she spending in that
that's kinda what
closet
I would
when
do,
they were
too.
paying her to watch their child?
Yeah.
Counterpoint, though, Jody's
Oh, okay.
just sitting in the bed staring at her the whole time. Not Jody, Amy.
I mean, Jody
Right.
probably was sitting in the bed, for all we
Yeah.
know.
In the rocking chair, probably.
In the rocking chair, true.
I feel bad for anyone who had braces in the 70s, though, because
Yeah,
that
dude.
junk is weird.
It's
That
like-
shit's medieval as fuck.
Yes.
Dude, it's like Lisa Simpson's headgear on The
Yeah.
Simpsons
Dude.
when Homer lost his dental plan.
Yeah.
And it was like had all the cobwebs and the springs and stuff. It
I
looked
had to
like
wear a
Jigsaw
version of
made
that
it.
for like a couple months.
Really?
Like at night. And
What?
it
Oh, at
was
night. Okay.
the fucking most painful shit in the world.
But you only wore it at night, right?
Yeah, you only wear it at night. Like this fucking wear it all the time shit. It's
What
insane.
hurt-
Because if you get hit in the face with
Yeah.
that in, you are fucked.
Or like you roll over or something. So this is when we get the forefathers arguing with each other.
Oh,
Our
yeah. So
forefathers.
it's
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln, it's
Yes.
George Washington, it's John Adams, and they're all bitching about the first
That's only three.
priest
Yeah.
who was in there and like.
Who's the other one? Do you know the other one? Benjamin Franklin?
Benjamin Franklin technically is a forefather, yeah, although he was not a president.
Who's on the mountain though?
You mean Rushmore?
Yeah.
There's
Lincoln,
President
Washington,
Rushmore. There's President
Roosevelt,
Franklin.
and,
there's Andrew Jackson and Kobe Bryant.
Nailed it.
Anyway, so it's the four priests,
It's some priest that we're just seeing for the first time who kind of looks a little bit like Lurch.
and it seems like he is in a position of authority.
Yeah, and he's kind of snarky too because he
Isn't
has
he
a
the
little
mayor
one
from Jaws? You guys were saying
No, the
that.
other one is the mayor from Jaws.
My apologies.
Yes, he
Yes.
got kicked out of Amity, which is the
see?
town in Jaws. So once the shark ate everyone in that town and they wouldn't let him be mayor anymore, he moved over
That's a
to
little frowned upon.
Amityville.
Yeah.
You're going to need a bigger parish.
Nice. So he moved over to Amityville and became like father of that town or something.
Yeah.
Right.
I think he's like the father priest mayor or something.
I think he's like the top person in that town.
I think so.
Yeah.
So he's arguing, and Father Bill Murray is desperately trying to win an Oscar with this scene because he's talking about, I could have done without this entire thing.
Yes.
He's talking about how he felt a genuine presence, and this is when we find out.
Lord Jesus.
Exactly. He used to be a psychotherapist, and so he said, no, I believe that. I don't know. They're
But
arguing.
it's him trying to convince them that there is a possession going on in that house.
Right.
And they're like, Bobo Bill Murray, you ignorant slut.
Exactly.
It's definitely not haunting or whatever.
We saw what you did to that groundhog. We'll never trust you again. But
So-
he's also talking about the old Ronnie DeFeo is the name of the guy who lived in the house before and killed his whole family. And he said, I see that same thing in his eyes and I'm worried.
Oh, and this is when they set up the fact that he's starting to look exactly like the guy who killed his family.
Yes.
The scene is like 15 minutes long and there's no point to it.
Exactly. Yeah. The two things that I cared about with all of the priests are the first time he comes and gets all the flies on him and the
Right.
time the nun comes.
Yes.
And the car chase scene was a little interesting when that evil fly was driving the car. That was cool. But everything else that had to do with clergy or the detective, I didn't care about. And I think the remake leaves a lot of that stuff
Good.
out too.
As it should.
But
It takes
adds
out
a-
the clergy, adds abs.
That's right. And lots
Yes.
of ghosts.
I'm
There's
out.
a lot more ghosts in that one. So now the friends come over and they pull up to the new house. And
Oh, and like medium girlfriend's like, I don't want to go in there.
right. It's like the third person that hasn't wanted to go in this
Yeah,
house.
it's like everyone except for the family that lives there knows that house is fucked.
Exactly.
But
Which
it's
is weird.
Jeff and
Yeah.
Jeff's girlfriend or
Jeff,
wife or
Jeff
whatever.
and,
yeah.
Lady Jeff.
Yeah.
If anybody was going to have sage in the pocket, it looked like it would be her.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's
She
got
doesn't.
some joints in there, too.
Yeah, it's probably
And-
not.
She definitely does.
And a giant Afghan on her shoulder. too.
She is wearing a knitted Afghan for a shirt. Anyway, so she won't go in, but Jeff walks up to James Brolin, who is, guess what? Chopping more wood. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so
He's a
he's like,
man,
oh, no,
damn
wait.
it.
He's sharpening the axe.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
When you chop that much wood, you got to keep that bitch sharp.
Yeah, you got to
do,
sharpen
man.
it.
Mhm. How
Anyway,
else do you
so
know
he's-
you're a man.
Yeah, I think he's James Brolin's business partner.
Yes,
because
he
he's
is.
like,
Or
hey, you haven't been to the
involved.
office or whatever. We need you to sign the checks.
Yeah.
In fairness,
Payroll.
Brolin does the math. He's like, oh, fuck, it's Friday. They should have been paid on Thursday.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
It's like,
he's
yeah,
like-
that was your job.
Yeah. Jeff is like, yeah, no shit. You haven't been to the office.
Yeah.
And if you remember from 2 seconds ago in this conversation, I had to bring the paychecks for you to sign.
Right.
You big dumb axe head.
Yeah.
And then James starts to walk away.
He's like,
and
oh,
then,
I still got an axe in my hand.
yeah, he's like, I don't need this axe. Let me just dramatically throw it into a tree.
and then give you that look.
And then started a whole trend of cool little places you go and throw axes at.
And like 100%, Jeff looks at him like, that's a weird flex, but all right.
He was kind of turned on a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he was. I mean, we all are.
He's like, I'm a little less mad now about this paycheck thing.
Yeah,
That
and
was
I'm
kinda cool.
super wet for some reason, which is a new experience for me.
It's James Brolin.
Glad I'm
man.
wearing this extra long puffy vest.
Suddenly he's only wearing one leg warmer.
Later.
It fades out. He's wearing no pants, one leg warmer. Jeff is like, take me now, James.
No, I don't know how it happened, but I'm into it. So meanwhile, while James Brolin is axe flexing, the boys are holding the spider
Oh,
that's
my
attached
God.
to a fishing pole down,
Yeah.
trying to freak their sister out, and she is yelling at her dolls.
Dude, she's a little psychopath.
She is.
I think she's the real villain of this whole fucking
Yeah,
thing.
she is. That's why they left her away from the wedding.
She tried to kill that babysitter, man.
Dude, she's just going to town with these poor little babies, too. Like,
I know. She
fucking
calls one of
hazing
them
like
an
a murderer.
asshole.
Don't ever talk back to me again, you little assholes.
I know.
And she is unimpressed with this fucking spider, too.
She is. She's like, yeah, I, get shit
I
off.
thought it was going to scare her, but no, she just smacks it away and says, stop it, you jerks,
You
or
would
whatever.
think those boys would realize they're playing with fucking fire,
Yeah.
dude. You
I
live with
know.
a psycho.
And so this is when the window smashes on one of the spider
yeah.
fishing pole kid's hands.
And Kool-Aid just shoots out everywhere.
Yes, it
Kool-Aid
does.
for days.
hmm And they can't get the window up. And I get flashed back to that scene in The Collector where he just has to like scrape his fingers back in.
Yeah,
So
we never see that, though.
No,
just
we
see him
don't.
coming out of the hospital or whatever.
James Brolin and Jeff like scurry on up there to try to get the window open. They're like, it's nailed shut. And the kid's just screaming the whole time. And so then they come back and the hand is all bandaged up and it's got an ice pack on it, but none of the fingers are broken.
But apparently his legs are because he can't fucking walk.
I know.
Oh my
yeah.
God, that kid falls in every scene.
Is it that kid or is it the other kid?
I think
I
it's
don't
that
know.
kid.
One of those kids
One
cannot
of them.
fucking walk.
We didn't talk about the time when this kid hilariously falls down the
Oh,
stairs.
the
shit,
first
that was,
time
like,
he's in the
early on.
basement. Yeah.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
God.
It was pretty
Yeah.
fucking
Also,
funny.
did we talk about the time they found oil in their shitter?
That was right before the nun got there.
Oh my God.
We don't
They
think
never
it's
call a
evil.
plumber.
No.
They never call
the guy for the phone.
I know.
They never call the guy from There Will Be Blood.
They're afraid he's going to drink their milkshake.
I know, that's what it is. I drink the milkshake out of your toilet.
Gross.
I mean, that's where the oil was, Jen.
That's true. So
Think
then,
about what you're saying, Jen.
Jen's trying to gaslight you right now.
Oh my God. Consider me gaslit.
okay, so they're asleep and Lois Lane decides that now in the middle of the night
It's
is
Dick o'clock.
It's Dick o'clock, and that means she wants to talk to James Brolin about the fact that none of these bones in this kid's hand are broken.
The man who hasn't slept in like a fucking week.
I know.
He's finally sleeping. Wake the fuck up. I got to talk about
Yeah.
this non-broken hand.
I realize it's the
Exactly.
middle of the night and you haven't slept since you stopped doing coke, but we've got to talk about how these bones aren't broken.
And how that's a problem.
Yeah, like-
not thank God they're not.
Go back in there and break that fucker's hand.
You know what would help me rest easily if my kid's hand wasn't broken, but
I
we
know.
thought it was going to be.
It just seemed odd, yeah.
God, Margot Kidder.
Are you kidding me?
Nailed it.
Woo! All right, so she finally just rolls over and he opens his eyes and we realize he just didn't
He's
want
been
to deal
awake
with
the
that
whole
shit.
time.
He's like, oh my God, bitch, please.
I know.
I think this is when I was like, I think he's just over it. Like, I
That's
think
when you
he's
came
just
to the
in
realization
over his
there's
head.
no ghost at all here.
Yeah.
Exactly. After
just
you
a
have to
man
go
on
to the
a breakdown.
emergency room, you realize how much of a burden all of this is.
We don't have insurance.
Exactly. Oh, this is our tidy whitey walk scene. This is my one leg warmer scene.
So what happens in this scene? Like, how does it start? Maybe you set
it
the scene.
starts. It's Dick o'clock.
It is Dick o'clock, which in this movie is 3:15.
Yeah, it's double Dick o'clock because he gets out of bed and we realize he's got a
Sneaky.
sweatshirt on and the whitest of
smugglers.
tidy whiteys.
Dude, Jen's face is full of smiles
Dude,
right
she's
now.
pretty happy about
Yeah.
this.
Oh, dude, man. Yeah.
Oh, dude, man.
James Brolin's a little bit dreamy in this scene. He's just wandering around. I don't know what.
It's tight in the front, saggy in the back.
I'm not looking at the back.
Yeah,
Never look at the back.
This is when I learned that Jen does not care for male butts.
Nope.
Because James
Does
does
nothing
not
for him.
have one, and she's like, I'm still on board.
Oh yeah, it's not that I don't care. I just don't care about butts. I don't need.
He was
them,
packing
you know?
what she needed.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Packing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
And you can see all three of them.
Oh yeah, you know,
Bulgy
Yeah.
Bulgy
Brolin,
Brolin?
as we say.
Jinx.
Bulgy Brolin. Oh my God. Guys, just watch this on slow motion. You'll see them rock. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Whew, I'm a married woman. All right, and so this is when the door blows.
Oh my God, guys. Jen, why are you only wearing a shirt and leg warmer? One leg
Just
warmer.
one.
What is happening?
Why did you throw an axe?
Oh my God. Stop doing ballet, Jen.
Is that a Virgin Mary statue over there?
Half painted.
Where did that
Painted.
harpsichord music come from?
The real problem is when you start hearing, Won't You Be My Neighbor?
So the door frame blows open, the front door.
Oh, and the basement door, right?
Yeah, but we
don't
don't
really
find
see
out
that,
about the
though,
basement door.
which
I
was
don't think.
weird.
I know. We just see the door. It blows out.
As if like someone kicked it down, like some like Sasquatchian figure kicked it down.
So now the detective is on the case.
Yeah, he
And
is.
James Brolin is just being a dick and just got his arm crossed staring this cop down.
Well, let's be fair, homie lit up the biggest stogie I've ever seen in my life.
That's
in
true.
his
And then
face.
walked into his house.
Yeah, as a cigar smoker, I'm like, holy fuck. And he just
Yeah.
rolled in that bitch just puffing.
That's
He's
a
like, get
baller
your
move.
kids. I want to smoke in their faces.
I'm going to stink up your entire
Just
floor.
fucking ashing all over the goddamn place. He don't give a damn.
And
Yeah,
he's
I
a
know.
cop, so that cigar probably
Right.
smells like shit.
Oh, for
He's
sure.
not rocking Cubans.
No.
He's got
James-
some Swisher Sweets.
Dude, that actually smelled kind of nice.
Cigarettos with a little plastic mouthpiece thing. So you don't have to chop the
That's
end
hateful.
of it off.
That's hateful.
Gross.
He was
Hey, man.
chewing the end off.
Yeah.
As opposed to using a cutter.
Like a goddamn
like
animal.
a fucking heathen.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And that's why you get the plastic things on them.
Speaking of heathens, though, James Brolin is staring him down. And like,
I know. And we don't know for a minute if he did put pants on. Because just like throwing the axe,
True,
that
that's
would
true.
have been a pretty big flex.
That would have been the best power move ever.
And I was thinking, what if he just maintained eye contact and just took his tidy whities off and just dropped them?
That is some wishful thinking on
She
Jen's
is.
part.
She's like,
don't you wish that James had taken his panties off?
could you imagine a better edit if they had done it this way? I think it would have made the scene more powerful.
You can't see anything. It's all 70s bush.
Bulgy Brolin.
That's
probably
a bulgy
Bush.
bowling brush.
There's a bearskin
I
rug
can't say it.
in the
It's a tongue-
scene.
It's a bulgy bowling bush.
Dude.
There you go.
Bulgy Brolin bush.
Yeah. Anyway, so James Brolin called the cops because he thinks someone broke in their basement and then broke the door down out their front door to get out.
So they go down and they're investigating into the basement, and Detective Hat is looking and he says, oh, it looks like somebody broke out. And it kind of reminded me of that scene in Sinister where he's like, well, how are they going to get in? None of the windows are broken.
Yeah, but Deputy so-and-so.
So he looked, he goes, no broken glass. Definitely didn't come in through here.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, he's right. No one did come in through there. But this is also where you see the dog digging at what we now know as the Hell Gate or whatever under the stairs.
Mm-hmm. He's just digging at a wall right now, like a stone wall. And this is when the detective just decides that he's going to move into his car across the street and just stay in really every scene of the movie just kind of outside watching.
I mean, in fairness, we don't know that he has anywhere else to live.
You're right.
That's true.
Got nowhere else to go. His wife kicked him out. He's just like living on the streets in his car.
Right. But
they are surprised when he shows up. They're like, oh shit, what are you doing here, son?
Right.
But he doesn't do anything else to help him at all. He's just watching.
He's the worst cop ever.
He really is.
Just call me curious. He said that is an actual line of dialogue.
Wouldn't that have been awesome to Brolin been like, okay, curious. Like the lamest shit in the world.
He saved it in a cell phone, Deputy Curious. All right,
his cell phone in the 70s.
Yeah. You mean his Rolodex?
Yeah.
He sharpened his pencil and then
that's why they had the pencil by the phone.
So he can name people's snarky things by their numbers.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, the next thing we do is James Brolin gets on his motorcycle, helmetless, and just zips away to the library.
Yeah, no one gave a fuck in the 70s. And he does go to the library, but doesn't Margot Kidder also go to the library?
She does, but they don't go to the library at the same time.
No, they do not.
Yeah.
Oh, but this is when you realize that James Brolin has a book on dick fetish.
And he doesn't have a library card.
He doesn't understand how libraries work.
How easy is it to get a library card?
I also think that whatever he stole from Town Hall must have not been checked out either.
It was blueprints.
Blueprints, which aren't explained. I
and
guess he was trying to figure out.
That's not what he shoved down his pants.
No,
he shoved a book of something down his pants and then stole
also
blueprints.
Not explained.
And none of that stuff pays off. None of it at all.
I think we do see the book in a little bit later.
But did they explain
Jeff
what he learned from the book?
Jeff and Mrs. Jeff. This is when they find out the history of the house or something. I think. Right. Or at least the
I might have been
parts
checking out at that point.
I got you, yeah.
Like a library book.
Did you get shoved down somebody's pants?
I felt like I did.
It's so boring. It's so long.
I'm telling you,
so boring.
If they just cut out a lot of the detective stuff and the clergy stuff, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot better.
Perhaps a library fucking scene.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like seeing things get shoved down James Brolin's pants. And so he tools off on his motorcycle. Somehow the blueprints do not fall out of the back of his motorcycle.
No, why would they?
Although we don't see him looking at them again, do we? So
nope.
Maybe they did fall off.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's what it is. So when Jeff and Mrs. Jeff are looking at the book, they're like, did you get the blueprints? And he's just like, nope. Couldn't find him. Nope. Meanwhile, they're stuck to the detective's windshield because he's driving on the street and they're stuck to his windshield.
And because he shoved them down his pants so they're sticky.
They're not a leg warmer.
So then
this is before they could use DNA.
So they pull up to the Witch's Brew bar.
Oh, yeah.
Little on the nose.
Exactly.
Little on the nose.
The bar that Ronnie DeFeo, who's the guy who killed his family at the very beginning, he used to come up.
I think he went there after he killed them because the purveyor of the establishment says, this is where they arrested him. And hey, you look a lot like him. And James is like, what? I don't look like him.
After he poor actingly came over and just dumped his beers all over the place.
Chunked beverages at this man.
I know.
And I was like, whoops.
Whoop, you look like a guy. So anyways, Jeff is there.
Fucking Moe's Bar over here.
I know. Yeah. Wanting to buy James Brolin a drink and trying to like get him back to sanity and helping him not shut the business down. He is.
My bad.
He kind of bugs me, but he's doing what he should do.
Yeah.
And so James Brolin just being his dick self or his Amity House dick
his bulgy self.
Yeah.
That's right. And just punch his friend in the face.
Yeah, he punches Jeff in the face and then Jeff falls on the ground. And Jeff does not fight at all. He's just like, all right, can we talk now?
He recognizes the power of Brolin, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Brolin does hit at least two people and both people just take it. So I'm starting to think maybe he hits like
one
a bitch.
of them is wife. One of them is best friend. This is not a great movie for James Brolin.
In fairness, his wife takes it way better than Jeff did.
Yeah,
Jeff
dude, Margot Kidder takes a slap to the face on her
turned
feet.
around, dude. It was like, okay, bitch.
Yeah.
And just like shrugged it the fuck off.
Oh my God.
Busted nose and all.
Yeah, Jeff took a punch from a seated James Brolin and falls to the ground.
After knocking over 5 tables and like a
Yes.
pitcher of
Very
beer.
dramatic.
I'm just saying he's a straw man and Margot Kidder's a badass.
Yeah, well, she's been dating Superman.
Yeah, she can take a punch.
She's mothered 3 of Superman's children.
can't do this.
Don't say that.
You can't do this.
She's mothered 3 of Superman's children.
Yeah.
I've seen some shit.
She can
Yeah.
take it, yeah. But you should never hit a woman.
No, or a Jeff. I mean,
That's
'cause
true.
honestly, Jeff can't take it.
He was
Had a
asking
warning.
for it.
You're right. They should at least get one warning before you start swinging. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
So Margot Kidder is wandering around our house and hears Amy singing Jesus Loves Me in 7,000
Which
different keys.
is your
She's a
first key.
child. Stop shaming her.
All right, so she's singing Jesus Loves Me.
Well, the
creepily.
reason she's singing that is because Margot Kidder later in the movie is at a music box with a ballerina in it, and the tune it's playing is Jesus Loves Me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
I found the connection.
nice.
Yeah.
This movie has layers. So she's singing and she's staring at a rocking chair that's also rocking with
Right.
no one in it. But Margot Kidder walks in and immediately stops. So she
Yes.
doesn't see it. And she just says she's talking to Jody. And I think at some point she started to ask her a little bit about Jody. I'm not sure if this is when it happens, but she's talking about how Jody is
Used to live there.
Yeah, was telling her about the little boy that used to live in
Yes.
her room and he got hurt. And Margot
Shit got
Kidder
fucked up.
Yeah. And so Margot Kidder knows what's happened and she's like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Maybe
And he
we should
died?
move out, or maybe I should just ignore all of these problems.
Yeah, she chooses option B.
Yeah.
So now,
Ignore it.
yeah. So the next thing is Jeff and Mrs. Jeff, and we're calling her Mrs. Jeff because I really can't remember.
I don't know her name.
Did they
Yeah.
even say her name?
I don't know. Maybe
Expendable
at some point.
hippie character.
Exactly. Yeah.
Token
Whatever.
Coachella chick.
That's true.
You can tell she
Racist.
smells like patchouli.
She definitely does.
She does. Yeah. So this is
Venus
when
is in retrograde.
he takes he takes all the books out of his pants, and they start to
And they
All
find
of
it's like
them.
the Kirkland estate or something like that.
Ketchum.
Ketchum,
So
sorry.
they pry
Jack
some of those
Ketchum
pages
estate.
apart. Yeah, and I think it's John
It is
Ketchum.
John
Yeah,
Ketchum. I'm
yeah,
just
you got
fucking
me.
with
Jack Ketchum is a horror writer who recently passed away. John Ketchum he was apparently tied to witchcraft somehow, not exactly
Of course
sure.
he was.
He built the house on some kind of ground.
Yeah.
Native American
where they used
burial
to
ground,
do
sure.
it wasn't Native American burial ground. It was like where they used to do like devil worship stuff and
Right.
Oh yeah, Satanic Panic. I forgot about that.
yes.
Yes. Now, I know what you're going to say when I say this, but this was not in the book. This was a thing that the movie made up, I think. But the remake of this goes into this storyline a lot more.
I mean, all of it's made up. I would have liked that storyline more than I liked most of the clergy shit.
Because that's interesting and scary.
Yeah.
And I don't care about this priest having this crisis.
Not at all.
Yep. So now that they know that this house is evil, they say, all you need is a date night. We'll take your
Yeah.
kids.
Guy, your house is evil, but all you need to do is take your wife on a date. We'll
Yeah.
babysit. It'll be cool.
fine.
You'll be fine.
This
Maybe
is like my
go to
favorite
rehab
scene.
and stop doing coke.
Because he rolls up there and goes, hey, maybe you should get yourself put together so we can go
Yeah.
out. As he's looking like the most haggard individual
I
on the
know.
planet.
He looks like he's done a lot of cardio over the past 48 hours and has not changed his
While
clothes.
doing meth.
He's
Yeah.
way OD'd on pre-workout.
Yes.
Yes.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Just like, okay.
But look, even in the 70s, there were different standards of appearance for men and women, and this scene proves it.
Wait, what do you mean? That women were held to a higher standard?
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
I know.
Yeah.
I told you
Margot Kidder has been killing it this whole movie. And
She
James
has.
Brolin's hot. Don't get me wrong. But she is.
He's got to work a lot less hard to be hot.
Oh, yeah.
Than
Did you
she
see
does.
his boat and motorcycle
Oh, yes.
and business and wood chopping skills?
Oh, I saw his
Oh,
business.
Yeah.
And
We
house
all
he
saw his
bought.
business.
We so did.
Yeah.
She's trying to tell about the stressful thing that's happened and that she's afraid to be in this house. And he's like, pull yourself together.
Yeah. Why
Lock
don't you
it
get
up.
prettied up? We're going to go to dinner.
Exactly.
Stop bitching about the haunted house we live in and sunk 80 grand into.
Right.
Let's go get some din.
She's still stressing over that one bag she couldn't carry in.
Holding that grudge.
Fuck.
Meanwhile,
Oh.
Mrs. Jeff is just feeling the vibes from the basement.
She's feeling some.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she wants to go and investigate those basement
She's like, what is
vibes.
this?
So they break into the house and go down
I
into
mean,
the
let's be
basement.
fair. At this point, I don't know if we can call it breaking in anymore. I feel like this is just a revolving door.
Just
And
never
then
fixed
she
it.
goes into the basement and immediately gets like a pickaxe and throws it into the stone wall of their house.
So
Very
she does-
poorly. She does
I
not know
would
how
be
that shit works.
pissed.
She does not know how that works.
Yeah, I'd be like, Jeff, get Mrs. Jeff, the Jeff out of here.
Exactly.
He wasn't pissed though. He was like, good fucking idea.
Yeah.
Let's swing some
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
He was all about
he
it.
was like, you know what? There is something back here. So James completes the job and finds a red doorway to hell. It sounds like an Iron Maiden song. Like,
Dude.
Mrs. Jeff is just staring into this red room of pain, and she's like pulling her hair. And I kept thinking that she was going to claw her eyes out because that's the amount of like pulling on
That
her
would've been
hair
cool.
she's doing.
and she's also talking with the voice of the
true.
devil.
Yeah.
You notice
And
that?
she
Yeah.
said, And she said, it's the passage to hell.
Let's be fair. The devil sounds super fucking lame.
Yeah.
I would like to imagine the devil's kind of a cool dude.
The only accurate interpretation of the devil is the one from South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut.
Up there where skies are blue.
Yeah.
I love that song. Oh, and so we see a picture, like a vision of what is supposed to be James Brolin in
Right.
the Red Room, and that's actually his brother.
Really?
It's
wow.
not him, it's his brother. They wanted somebody who looks a lot like him, but not actually him, so they used
Nailed
his
it.
brother. This is when the priest gets the prank call from the devil.
Yeah,
The devil prank calls the priest.
Which is
There's
pretty rad.
no reason
It
for
is.
this whole scene because the
No.
phone rings, the phone rings, the phone rings, the priest answer it. You hear a devil giggle and then hang up.
So now they're walking around the house and they see the cross is upside down.
Oh, no,
The
and
wallpaper
black.
is still there, but the cross is black and upside down.
Isn't this where the homeless cop is outside watching him walk around? And he's like, what is up with these people walking around their own fucking house?
I know, with the shades drawn. Don't they know I'm trying to watch everything?
Don't they know I can't finish to completion
I'm
unless I
trying
can
to
see
get
them
off.
inside their house?
I mean, it's only
many
fair.
leg warmers?
Brolin needs a leg warmer. He needs open windows.
Yeah.
James Brolin just wandering around saying, the power of Christ compels you.
Or whatever that is. Yeah.
And she's got
He's
some...
gibbering some shit.
He is, yeah. And the cross gets like jerked out of his hand, but it's the
Oh,
70s.
He
Or
just
you
like
mean
slips out of his
drops
hands.
it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's like butterfingers it to the
no.
ground.
And it just looks like the floor is a magnet or something.
Yeah.
They can't quite pry it up, and so they just bone out. And this is when Father Bill Murray and Father
Ryan,
Ryan,
yeah.
are in the sanctuary, and they're wearing all of their like super dressed up priest stuff. And
Yeah,
the
he's got-
monk,
Armor of God.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a legit like tunic on, or
Yeah.
the Father Bobo Old Bill Murray has like a tunic on with like the papal 2-key cross symbol with the red cross through it.
I mean, he's looking stylish. He's ready to throw down.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he is looking fly,
He's
right?
super shy.
Which may be the problem because when he starts to pray, one of the things that's like hanging over the sanctuary, like the statues or
Yeah.
whatever,
she starts crumbling.
starts to crumble and then falls, and
Yeah.
he goes blind.
he peacocked too hard.
yeah,
He
yeah,
does.
that's what it
Too much
was.
peacock.
That's what it was.
Praying and yelling, and
Dude,
the
he
monk
prayed super hard. He prayed too hard.
really does. And the monk father is wearing this executioner's monk thing.
Yeah, he's
Trying
just
to
like a
keep it
monk.
low key,
Yeah,
yo.
he's
He's
like,
trying to keep it
you're
low key.
praying too loud. You don't need to yell that loud. You're not going to win an Oscar for this role.
And he
Calm
didn't.
down.
No, he sure didn't.
And the
He
Virgin
knew it was
Mary
up.
face, or some kind of angel, is crumbling over him, and then something flies in
Not
his
a very
face
good
and
thing.
blinds him. Or
I
something.
don't think it hits him in the face at all. I think it just falls. Although
He's
another-
psychotic. He
Yeah.
thinks it hits him in the face.
That's true.
It's
yeah,
still
because
good.
when he looks back
Yeah.
up, it's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
think it's
nothing
just
happened.
a little dramatic.
He's a little dramatic. And I think he honestly can still see he's just being a
That's what it
little
is.
bit of a diva
Yeah.
right now.
Maybe he's got Munchausen's by
right.
Christie.
He's like, homie was unimpressed with my super loud prayer.
Yeah, I know.
So now I'm going to pretend I'm blind. And that's
Yeah.
why he doesn't talk to him later.
yeah, and he just sulks for the rest of the
He
movie.
does. He's a
Yeah.
little sulky bitch.
Oh, my
And
God.
I didn't need any of this.
The only thing I need from them after this is the next scene you see them in when Father Ryan shames him for being blind. Hey, I brought you some mail, doesn't read it to him, and then says, it's so beautiful out here. He's like, good luck not falling into the river right next to
You're
us.
right next to the fucking
Oh, my
water, asshole.
God.
You don't even have a proper blind person's cane.
Well, he doesn't.
I know. How did he even
He
get
got like
to
an
the
old
bench?
person cane.
How did he know the bench
That's
was
not what
there?
that's
Oh, he's
for.
going to die. Anyway, what happens now?
All right, so this is the last night, I think.
Oh,
Look, it's a long time
No,
to get
this
there.
is not the last
Oh,
night. We're almost
just like
there.
the movie.
This is more Dick O'Clock Night Creep.
Yeah, it is.
And this is
I got the night creeps. It's tick o'clock and I got the night creeps.
The night creeps took you.
Yeah.
But this is the time when Lois Lane dreams that George has killed Amy
Oh,
with
yeah,
an
yeah, yeah.
axe and then kills her in the head with an axe, too.
Yeah.
And then wakes up screaming. And then James Brolin walks down and he just
Brolin.
sits and rocks in his chair and starts screaming, I'm coming apart.
Oh my God. Honestly, this is the only scene where I'm like, this guy is not a great actor.
Yeah.
He's pretty good the whole movie.
He
like
is,
he's
yeah.
very serviceable the whole movie.
yeah.
He's not awesome. He's not bad.
But he's hot,
This
and that
scene,
counts.
yeah. But this scene, I'd like to apologize for how I said, yeah. Not
You
into James
apologizing to
Brolin.
Natalie.
Yeah. But I mean, I can admit when another man's hot and James Brolin's doing it. Anyway, but this scene is just full of bad acting. It's really bad.
And then Lois Lane's like, what's going on? And Todd said, are you coming apart down there?
Yeah. Are you coming apart down here?
It was funny. All right, and he has tripped over this dragon and somehow gotten a bunch of like stab wounds. What's a foo dog?
It's that thing.
Oh, that thing? Yeah, well, apparently this foo dog bit him or something. All right, and the next thing we got is Basketball Nun and Mechanic
Oh,
Nun.
Basketball
fuck.
Nun is schooling these
forgot about
nerds on the
Basketball Nun.
court. I want a movie about Basketball Nun. Oh,
I
wait.
know.
Basketball Nun.
There is one. It's Sister Act.
Basketball Nun and Mechanic Monk, because we see the monk come out from under a car.
I think he's fixing the car.
He is.
That was, they were driving
driven by
earlier.
the evil fly.
Yeah.
And so they're talking, and he's kind of, Lois Lane is like, why won't you guys help me? I keep trying to call. And he's like, nah, dude, we've tried. It drove my father insane and blind.
Yeah.
The whole time,
Psychosomatic.
Nun's in the back bawling.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is, man.
The one little kid blocks her shit, and he's going straight to fucking hell. And he knows
She bounces between her legs, throws it, bounces it off ahead, does a jump shot from way back, and just yells, "And one!"
Yeah, pulls out a ruler and just smacks them all.
Goddamn.
Obviously, we're like exaggerating, but she actually does sink that basket.
She does
She
think
does.
there's one.
It
No
is
edit bullshittery.
insane.
And
yeah.
she's wearing the full nun
The
gear.
full
too.
habit, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I say? She's an undercover from the WNBA.
You
That's
did,
what it
yeah.
was.
All right. And so then Lois Lane goes to investigate. She's finally using that journalism degree that she used in Metropolis.
I swore I would never journalize again.
The microfiche.
But she does use the microfiche.
And her microfiche glasses.
Dude, the
Yes.
biggest glasses. The biggest.
She
most specialist
stole the
glasses.
realtor's glasses. Those
She
are the-
did,
Yeah.
yeah. Then so she's investigating this, and she sees a picture of Ronnie DeFeo, and it looks
Who was the
just,
guy who killed the people in the house originally?
but it looks just like James Brolin.
And it is. It is straight up James
It
Brolin.
is, yeah.
George.
I know, yeah. So now she realizes, okay, we're in danger. I don't know why this
Yeah.
one picture has convinced her when everything else has shown her house is
Well,
haunted.
have you seen a movie? If it's on the microfiche,
That's
shit's so
true.
real.
Even if I have seen a passageway to hell in my own house.
Oh, yeah,
The
they-
microfiche is what proves it.
The passageway to hell was like 3 scenes ago.
I know.
And they're just like, there's like a passageway to hell in our basement, but I'm real sleepy. Can we deal with this tomorrow morning?
Exactly.
That shit's expensive. Could
What
you
is
imagine how
happening?
much that costs to fix?
True. To be fair, she wasn't wearing her special glasses when they were talking about the
True.
passageway to hell.
And they've got a phone to fix still, some toilets
I
to fix.
know.
There's a lot of things going
Yeah,
on.
they've got a plumber they got to call. They got to call Bill, the electrician, and then they got to get a level 32 mason in there.
Their
and that
door's
shit
still
adds
just
up.
hanging
Hey, what if
off.
that's a foundation problem? I don't fucking know. $80,000 is getting real
A
expensive.
regular mason can fix a foundation problem, but a foundation that's fucked up by a passage to hell takes a level
Dude,
32
a little bit
mason.
extra.
Listen, I know, guys.
I've owned lots of houses.
Yeah, listen, it's a Freemason joke, guys. Look it up.
All right, so now we are finally at the last night.
Oh,
we made it.
God.
It's raining. James Brolin is wandering around trying to secure the boat. Lois Lane is
Priorities.
careening home from the library.
From the microfiche.
Well, and her kids are all up in the bathroom, like huddled
Well,
together.
yeah, he doesn't give a
crying.
fuck
They're
about
scared.
them.
For sure.
There's
Yeah.
a thunderstorm outside.
Yeah.
I feel like there wasn't enough build to this. you
There
know?
wasn't at all. But she's driving home in the rain. He's out there fucking with the boat or whatever. Kids are in the bathroom crying. And she runs inside because she figures that's what they all are. And
Yeah.
I think at this point, she's thinking that James is trying to kill them. That's fair. She runs upstairs in the bathroom with them, looks out the window, and he's walking back with the axe very ominously.
She thinks, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, does she see the pig as she's running in?
No, he sees the pig
That's
in the
what
window.
it is,
This is
yeah.
when we
Big
see
purple pig.
Yeah, big pig with the red eyes in the window. I think we forgot to talk about when Lois Lane saw
She did
red
see some
eyes.
like shiny lights.
That's why she was upset and she didn't want to just clean
Right.
herself up and go
That's
to
what it
dinner.
was. You're
That's right.
Yeah. She
That's
saw the
right.
light bright outside.
And he
She
just
did.
assumed it was that fucking cat that fucked him up earlier.
Exactly, that cat, man. It was scary. All right, so he starts to shining through the bathroom door with his axe, and then she jumps on top of him and wrestles him to the ground, and he almost axes her, but she tactical rolls out of the way.
Yeah.
And then she says, "Don't hurt my children," and that snaps him out of it. And he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Lois Lane. I would never do it."
It's true. He wouldn't. But then he runs. They all get the fuck out of there. They all run
They
to the
do,
car.
but
and
they also
go.
the walls have started to bleed at this
Yes.
point too,
And the stairs.
and the stairs.
Dude, that fucking kid can't walk.
Dude,
I
that
know.
kid
Slip
hits
and
the fucking
slides down
stairs
the
again.
steps.
He's
Oh
like,
my
son of a bitch.
He just slip and slides down the steps.
Finally
Everyone else
gets-
does fine.
I know, and then he finally gets down the steps, and then he falls on the way
Yeah.
out the
Ate
door.
shit out the front door.
It's like they made him drink a lot. And he's like 8 and he can't hold his liquor. So he's like slipping around. It's a rough shoot for him. Anyway, they run out to the car and they all get in the car and they start to drive away. And the kids are like, "Where's the dog?" Whose
Yeah.
name is like Harry. And then they drive down the street.
And then we find out
James-
who the real fucking monster of this movie is.
Lois Lane.
Margot Kidder.
Yeah, she's like, "Leave the dog."
Leave the fucking dog.
Yeah.
And then we find out who the real hero is.
Yeah,
Brolin.
James fucking
He's like, I'm about
Brolin.
to go up in this fucking hell house and save Harry.
But
And he fucking does.
even drives them down the street.
Right,
and
like a
parks
fucking
them.
champ.
Exactly.
He gets them a quote-unquote safe distance away. Yeah.
And then walks through a thunderstorm
Yeah.
back into
Which is
his
already
house.
He's
drove a
running.
tree
That's true.
through the house.
He's like, I am man's best friend.
I'm
Wait.
coming for you, Harry.
Yeah, I just said I am man's best friend.
I
you
am
are.
dog's best friend.
There you go. That's what I meant to say. Well done.
And so then he has to go down into the basement where Harry is because he's still trying to get into that red room or something. And he falls through the steps into like a well of blood.
Yes. Anyway, so he starts to come up out of the blood, and the dog's there like biting him because he's like, I don't know who you are, blood monster.
Or he's like, fuck you, dude. You left me.
Yeah.
True, yeah.
Could be. But then he's like, Harry, it's me. Harry, it's me. And then he's like, this is like some solid dog acting.
It is.
The dog goes from biting to attacks to biting to lift him out. And through the power of dog love, James is lifted out of the gateway to hell. And then James just carries Harry out of the basement
I
and then
know.
all the way
He
back
owes
to the
Harry.
car.
Well, he has to bust through a window first and dump Harry out.
That's
That's right.
because the
Because
door
he's walking out
closes.
and the
Once
door
again,
closes.
the fucking doors don't
Yeah.
work right. in
And
this
there's
house.
no one to say, just twist it
Right.
out. the
There's no
fence
sign
or
either, so you
in.
can't
Harry
even
Larson
calm
wasn't
down.
there. He
Exactly.
wasn't there to help him out. He busts the window out and then he carries the dog back to the van. And then what we don't see is Harry look at Margot Kidder being like, you left me? I
Right.
guess you're the bitch. And then they drive away and that's the movie.
And that's the movie.
And scene.
Yeah.
And we see text on the screen that says, and they never went back.
For any of their shit.
P.S. It's a scam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they actually did was call movers the next day, and the movers went in and got all their shit out without incident.
Yeah, because it's not a haunted house.
Yeah.
Let's do final thoughts. I did not like this movie. It's super slow. It's not super scary. It's not a good movie. What do you guys think?
What do you think?
So I remember liking it. I remember showing this to a like second, third cousin when I was staying in Florida one time who didn't watch scary movies, and this fucked him up. I remember
Really?
we stayed up
Really?
super late. I think he didn't watch anything, and it was like 3:14, and he was panicking so hard to go to sleep. And I thought,
Really?
cool, it must have been scary. I don't really remember it. Watching it now, I'm like, fuck, dude, it's not really scary
Yeah.
at all. It
No,
doesn't
it's
really
not.
do anything.
And I can understand because I feel like one of the biggest problems is that it's just dated.
Yeah.
It is super dated. Yeah.
But I also think that the clergy storyline just takes you out
It does.
of all
Muddled.
like you build tension for a little bit and then it just evaporates because you spend all this time about this storyline that I just don't care about. And I feel like if you had cut all of that out and it was a much more linear story, I feel like it would have been more effective and more
Agreed.
powerful and scarier. And I do remember watching this and being scared by it. I don't remember ever being terrified, but I also think that thinking when I could tell myself this really happened, I think that makes it a little scarier too.
Based on true events.
Exactly. Even though, like, they're in the back of my mind, I was like, well, maybe not. But I mean, I feel like that gives it a little
There's
more
always
power.
that, always that maybe. What if? What if?
Exactly. Because I don't know. I enjoyed it. I don't think
Fair
I
enough.
enjoyed it as much as I did the first time I watched it.
Let's talk box office. So the budget for this was $4.7 million, which is a pretty good sized
That's a
budget for the
big budget
70s.
Yeah,
there.
in the 70s.
But I mean, you had some pretty big name actors, James Brolin, Margot
Yeah.
Kidder, pretty big name actors,
And this
right?
the book was a bestseller too. So I think they spent some money on the rights for it.
Oh, I'm sure that's true. It made $86.4 million, which in today's dollars is just over $300 million.
It's an okay return, I guess.
That's insane.
For a while, it was the highest grossing independent movie ever made.
Yeah, that's insane. That's box office.
Okay, Jen's fun fact.
Yeah, let's just do some Jen's fun facts.
So, along with the box office, James Brolin took a little bit less of pay for 10% on the return of
Oh,
this
shit, he
movie.
made money on this
He
then.
did.
Yeah.
Motherfucker knew what's up.
Yeah, it ended up being like adjusted now, like $500 million on this movie.
Oh, yeah, because I'm sure they made a lot of money after it like hit movies or like home movie and stuff like that. Yeah.
They did, yeah. This movie was not critically received well at
No,
all.
I'm
Critics
sure not.
didn't like it, but it made a lot of money. I think
Yeah.
it was like the second most successful movie that year.
Jesus.
So it was a huge hit. It did really well. And I think a lot of that goes to the power of like, this is a true story. And back then, you couldn't just Google it or find like 5 true crime podcasts
Even
about
if
it.
you could,
know?
I promise there's 1,000 fucks that are going to message you and be like, "This is so real."
It's not at all
No, it's
real.
Keep saying that,
not.
they're going to believe it though. You wait
Whatever,
and see.
man.
So when The Exorcist was filming, there were all these reports of like weird stuff going on the set. And the producers kept trying to tell James James Brolin and Margot Kidder, like, are you sure there's not anything weird going on? They were trying to stir up
they're
that
trying to start
drama.
the hype.
But James Brolin and Margot Kidder, even though they did get to know the Lutzes because they were playing them, they both were like, no, we don't really believe this. I don't think
No,
it's real.
because there were the scammiest scammers that ever scammed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that one goes to the Warrens.
Yeah, them too.
So let's talk about that because this has been pretty thoroughly debunked, and I looked it up on Snopes, and I'll link this. This is not the true. The haunting did not happen. The crime of the DeFeo family getting murdered by Ronnie
Totally
DeFeo,
happened. Yeah.
it did happen. There's a lot of conspiracy theories about this. I've heard a lot of different ones, but apparently he was on a lot of drugs, and I think what happened, I haven't investigated too much about this, but I think he just shot his family.
Yeah, he did. He shot his brothers and sisters and then killed his parents.
Yeah, and I have heard some stories about some mafia involvement and that the haunting was like a cover-up of that, but I don't know.
Wow, that's a fucking hell of a story. You should have made a movie about that.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a book called The Night the DeFeos Died that kind of goes into that, but I think a lot of that was based on interviews with Ronnie DeFeo, and so, I mean, how much of that are
They're
you gonna
probably not
believe?
super reliable.
Exactly.
I would say he's probably a little untrustworthy.
Yeah.
Yes. The lawyer for Ronnie DeFeo and the Lutzes, he eventually said in an interview that they just made the whole story up over a bottle of wine. So it's pretty clear that it's not true. So there's also, they mention footprints in the snow in the book that they saw, and they went back and looked at weather reports, and there was no snow on the ground in the period that they mentioned calling the cops, and they never placed any calls to the police during the time. It's been pretty clearly debunked. But they still say it's true, and their kids still say it's true, and they say, oh, well, I've got nightmares from that time. But yeah.
Well, when you're that young and your parents feed you this nonsense.
Yeah, and you fall a lot and hit your head. You're going to believe
Fuck yeah.
everything.
I listened to, what's the little girl's name? Was it Amy?
Yeah.
On like some kind of like podcast radio show. And they were talking about this, and she was honest, like, I don't really remember a lot, but blah, blah, blah. She still believed it, obviously. And it's like, well, yeah, you don't remember it because it didn't happen.
Well, I think it was 5. She was 5.
I mean, right.
And also, there's a paycheck in it if you say it happened.
Sure.
Exactly. So the real Ronnie DeFeo was sentenced to 6 25-year life sentences, and I think he's still alive in jail.
Okay.
And I would love someday to like a documentary or a biopic of the Warrens, that's
for
not
sure.
The Conjuring,
Yes.
No, that's just pointing out how they scammed people.
Yeah.
Look up The Amazing Randy.
Watch an
The Amazing
Honest Liar.
Randy?
if you
Yeah,
haven't
that's
seen
what it's
that.
called.
Yeah.
The-
Oh, is that the guy you were talking about who was trying to debunk a bunch of these
He
ghost
did
people?
debunk.
Yeah. He just,
And he literally put up $1 million prize if you could prove the paranormal exists, and he just shut so many fucking people down.
Okay, so scary scale. All right, listeners, our scary scale is a scale we use to rank how scared we were today when we watched this movie. It's not a ranking of the quality of the movie. It's a ranking of how scared we were today when we watched it. Our 1 example is Ghostbusters. Our 10 example is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All right, Jacob.
I would have said probably like 5 before watching it today, based on like nostalgic memory. Today, I'd have to give it a hard 1.
1.
Every fucking time I'm here, it's a hard 1.
Oh,
Every time you're here, I'm a hard one.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, you are.
I'm a hard one.
Hard one with
leg
that
warmers
leg
just
warmer.
appear out of nowhere, man.
Yeah, only one leg warmer.
God damn it.
I'll say 2. Honestly, that first black cat jump scare is the only time I was like, oh, and it was more like startled than scared, but I won't give it a 1, but
Generous.
it's not scary. Yeah.
yeah. I want to give it a 2.5, but I think I'm going to bump it up to 3.
Oh
I do like this. I like it. Nah, I got to give it a 2.
There
I
it
think
is.
because I was not that scared when I watched it today. I did enjoy it.
Yeah, pretty much 90% of your scary scales go against what your scary scale explanation is, and it is how you think the movie is, like
I
a
know.
quality of the movie.
Yeah.
It's not how scared you actually are.
Right. I don't actually get that scared when I'm watching movies. And part of it's because I think I'm watching it with you guys, But I'm going to give it a 2. And I think that if you cut out a lot of the priest stuff, it could have been a 3 or a 4, because I
Maybe
think
because the atmosphere would have held.
exactly
Yeah.
you wouldn't keep dumping off all the pressure with nothing. It's not like you get a big jump scare and that dumps the pressure off. It just evaporates. But
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So
And that
that's
pig used to look a lot scarier. It used to look a lot
did.
scarier.
Mhm. And those eyes were scary
Yeah,
too.
it used to look a lot
So
scarier.
dumb.
Todd.
Now, not a lot of horror fiction scares me, but the book did scare me. And Jacob, if you want to borrow
I'm
it.
going to read it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a quick read. All right. Yeah. So that's our scary scale.
So this week, the listeners made me watch the Amityville Horror.
Yes.
What are we watching next week,
Well, we
Jen?
got another haunted house movie. And it's also a found footage movie.
I hate found footage so
I know.
much.
Have we watched a found footage yet?
Yeah, we watched the one that took place in
Grave
the
Encounter.
Yeah, that's the
it.
one.
Well, next week we are watching Paranormal Activity.
I actually remember when this movie came out. It is like the definition of the shit I do not want to watch.
I know. And I really like this movie. I hope it holds up.
I think this one will hold up.
I think it will too, and I think it will scare
Do you have an attic?
No.
Good, because you're not going to like addicts after this.
Exactly.
Good.
It's
So guys, watch
exciting.
Paranormal Activity.
Hey guys, so we've been getting some great listener reviews, and we wanted to read one to you.
So we're going to do one from someone named it's Kattyy.
That sounds like Caddy Hey.
Caddy?
No, it's like hey when you put the 3 Y's. That means hey.
That means it's dick o'clock.
That does, yeah. Maybe it's cat o'clock.
So Caddy says, I was recommended this show on Twitter, and I needed something to listen to between my other podcasts.
Ooh.
I started with the It review and felt like I was just hanging out with friends.
Aw.
Very worth a listen. 5 stars.
Thank you so much, Caddy. That was an awesome review.
Thank you very much.
Have you read it? We want to hear all about it. Send me an email.
Yeah, talk to us on Twitter, guys.
Yeah.
Or in the Facebook group, guys.
Yeah.
Please join the Facebook group. Facebook group is where we have a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to be in it. And
It really is.
I mean, I don't want to do anything else on Facebook except the Facebook group, but I do talk in there
Yeah.
every day. It's like an everyday thing for me. I love
So
it.
if you hate Facebook, you can still be part of this group, and
Yeah.
it's still fun. You
Yeah,
just
it's
don't
great.
do anything else.
We might actually do a podcast in the next few weeks. So,
Nice.
don't hold your breath, though.
Oh.
But if you want to follow and find out if they're going to do a podcast in the next few weeks, it's at Modern Horrors on social.
is.
We are at Horror Virgin on all the socials. And if you want to follow Jen specifically, it's at Jen Ferratu. I am at Todd J. Awesome. You were at Jacob Hopkins, right?
Jacob_Hopkins.
Whoa.
Some other fuck beat me to it.
Yeah, that's why I'm Todd J. Awesome, because some stupid no shit fucking talent having person has Todd Awesome.
Not using that Twitter handle at all, right?
I'm not bitter. He's not using it. It has not been
Son
used.
of a bitch.
Yeah. Or you can check out our website at horrorvirgin.com. That's where you get the blog and links to the merch store. Obviously, you can also check out modernhorrors.com for
Yeah,
their great
lots of
web
awesome reviews.
content. Yeah, a lot of great, awesome reviews.
I just posted something on there too. It was awesome.
You did. We have a lot of awesome, great perks you guys can get on the Patreon. So if you can monetarily support the show, please do by going to patreon.com/horrorvirgin.
Yeah.
But if you can't, please continue doing all that you're doing to help get the word out about the podcast.
Yeah.
Which clearly you guys have been doing, because this week we had our biggest launch day ever for downloads
What
and
up?
listens.
I know, it's awesome.
It's been insane. So thank you guys very much for helping with the incredible growth that we and James Brolin have been experiencing.
Yeah. We should say this is a listener request episode, and the way that you get to suggest
Yes.
and vote for listener requests is by being a Patreon member. But every level gets to suggest and vote. So yeah, there are lots of really cool perks.
Yeah, a lot of me watching trailers. There's other stuff like Mikey. When Mikey took me to go see Shazam, we did a quick review in the backseat of my car in the rain.
Aw.
It actually came out
It was
pretty good. Yeah.
romantic. Did you steam the windows up and then put your handprint on like Titanic in the back?
He wasn't wearing a leg warmer.
Oh, okay. Sorry. But if you're not able to do that, one of the greatest things that you can do to help us out is leaving those 5-star reviews.
Yes, please.
We're going to read them on the podcast if you do.
Yeah. So get it done, nerds.
I know.
So yeah, we are a member of the Modern Horrors Podcast Network. Clearly, that's why Jacob is here with us.
And
only
because we're
reason.
super cool.
Yeah, and because Luke said no. And so if you're listening to us in their feed, you're already getting also the Final Girls and Death Dying and other things, and of
Yeah.
course Modern Horrors Podcast.
You're
when
not
it comes
getting
out.
that one, but you may eventually get that one.
Hopefully
Occasionally.
soon, more regularly, you'll be getting the Modern Horrors Podcast as well. But yeah, we're super glad to be on that network and
Yeah.
really love being on it.
Yeah, and check out information on God Country because, lots of stuff should be
'Cause
coming
why
out
not?
with that soon. Yeah, and it's going to be really cool. I saw some pictures of the sets, and I was a little disturbed.
It's going to be gnarly. It won't be for everyone, and that is the point. So
Yeah.
if you're
That's what-
brave, put on the big boy pants because it's going to be wild.
So, yeah, watch Paranormal Activity. Oh, and guys, Emmy in the Facebook group.
Who we just made a moderator of the Facebook
I know.
group. Yes.
Yay, we're so happy. She hosts listener watch parties every Sunday, and she does 2 different times too because she's awesome.
Yeah.
And we've got like multinational listeners that are in different time zones. So if you don't have this movie or you don't know where to find it, check that
Or
out.
don't
because-
want to rent it.
Yeah, exactly. Or want to watch along and comment.
Yeah.
Stuff. And we try to pop into that too when we can.
I
So,
watched the Event Horizon one. It was awesome.
Yeah,
we were
it's
just
really
chatting the whole
fun.
time. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so check that out. And that's going to be it from us, everybody. Thank you so much, Jacob, for
Yeah,
stopping
thank you so much for
by.
being here, Jacob.
Thanks for
We
having me.
appreciate
We've
it.
had both of the Hop Guy on.
Yeah.
I know. Emily was just on, and now Jacob's on. That's awesome.
Yay!
All right. So thank you so much, Jacob, for stopping by. I'm Jen.
I am your horror virgin, Todd.
And I am Jacob.
Now you are.
All right. Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next week. Bye, nerds.